This week, I had multiple clients call me because they got the same piece of mail in their hand. That's the IRS Letter 11. If you gotten one of these notices, you know how scary they can be. And if you're worried that when it's coming, you want to stay tuned right here, right now, because what we're going to do is that we're going to talk about the IRS Letter 11 and the ramifications of getting that letter. Because what you do in the next 30 days, the IRS can touch your bank account, they can go after your paycheck, and they can go after your property. I'm going to explain everything that you need to do, need to be aware of. Hi, Carl Samaniego with Tax Debt Live, coming to you from Redlands, California. Super excited to be here. I literally call it's the dog that bites. Most people who are dealing with the IRS debt probably have seen a letter called IRS Letter CP 504. And actually, that you're going to notice about these two letters here, they look very similar, but they're dramatically different in many ways. On this letter CP 504, right here in that top right corner, you see that? On the top right corner, it says CP 504. This is a notice that the IRS sends when they intend to levy. I call this the bark, not really the bite. This is basically if you've talked to me before in the past, I call it the Bruno Doctrine based on my German Shepherd. You guys ever walk next to a yard and they have those big giant German Shepherds, and you walk by, you didn't see the German Shepherd, and it just starts barking and going crazy? It scares you, right? This letter is the same thing. That when you get this letter, it's scary. It literally says notice of intent to seize your property and your rights. Just like a barking German Shepherd behind the fence, you know what? It's behind a fence. It can't bite you, but the bark is scary. And that's what this letter CP 504 is, right? You need to be aware of is that once you get this letter, the IRS has the right to send you this next letter 30 days later. Now, I've seen many times is that sometimes the letter 11 comes much later than 30 days, but that letter can come after 30 days. And you'll notice here, top right corner, it says letter 11. And it says notice of intent to seize your property, just like this CP 504, notice of intent to seize your property. But here's what makes it different. Notice of intent to levy and notice of your right to a hearing. Now, this letter 11 is basically the bite. Basically, this letter triggers that 30-day window. And after that window closes, the IRS does not need to warn you again that they're going to come after your bank account. They're going to come after your wage garnishment and or file a lien against your property. Basically, in practice, we call this letter the dog that somebody opened up the gate, and that dog could come out and bite you at any time. Not might, it will if nothing happens. So you owe the IRS or haven't filed your tax returns, a lot of those notices either go unopened, they go in that circular file, they go into the drawer, or you're hiding them from your spouse or your loved one. This is a letter that you cannot hide from because it's the one letter here that once you get this letter, you have to do something, whether you're going to pay off the tax debt or ask for your right to appeal to challenge this thing. And that's where we come in as your tax representatives to be able to help you deal with this, to buy you some time to find a resolution for your tax problems. The people that we got this week, one owed almost $1 million. The other one owed $250,000 and was just over six figures. Three of them in 1 week. So what did that tell me? Guess what? These letters are going out right now. People are starting to receive those letters. So if you get this letter, please do not ignore that letter. That's the last thing that you want to do is ignore the letter. I tell people all the time on the screen right there, I just popped it up. If you get this letter, you know what? Call our office, 909-570-1103, and just tell them you want to book an appointment. And then we can talk to you. I'll ask you the date of when you got the letter. We're looking to find out your time frame. We want to make sure it's actually this letter 11 and not something differently. But at least we can give you some guidance going forward. And one thing we don't do, we try to hard close you on the phone. There's no need for us to do that. But I at least can give you guidance of what you need to do. If you decide to work with us, great, wonderful. We're ready to work with you. Again, call the number on the screen. Don't have the booking. It's called taxea.com. And this is the one thing you don't need to think about it. Just talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that understands what these notices. And here's the thing. Be careful calling around, just calling the guy that owed the $1 million of taxes that called me today said he called 8 different places, got 8 different opinions. All of them just were like all over the place. Just none of it made sense. That's what we want you to do. Don't ignore these letters. Remember, just look in the top right corner here, letter 11. If you see right to hearing, this is your final letter. The one before the CP 504, basically this one, you'll see that CP 504 in the top right section. And this is directly from the IRS website. So that tells you that letter 11 is coming. And trust me, the more time we have to deal with it, the better you're off. So if you get this letter, you should be calling us still. If you get that letter 11, you cannot wait any longer because there is a strict timeline. The clients that we talked about before, we got one deadline that's next Wednesday and another deadline that's in 2 weeks. So we got to do something really fast. In my slide version. So many of you guys know I wrote this book back in 2019, How to Make the IRS an Offer They Can't Refuse. This is the original book that I wrote. I wrote it back in 2019. In fact, this is the book. My boss actually signed it. He loved the cover of the book so much. He wanted to sign the book and he wanted a copy of this book. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. But I redid this entire book. It's been almost 7 years. This is 26. This came out in 19. 7 years since I wrote this book. And a lot has changed in those 7 years. And I knew it was time to rewrite this book. So the second edition is actually coming out. It's dropping on June 1st, where I updated and expanded it. Even Andrew has a chapter in this book where we talk about military personnel dealing with tax problems. So I'm really excited about that. If you're currently on my list and you've been watching me and have downloaded online, if you're on my list, you're going to get a copy of the book. I will be emailing it to everybody on my list, which is almost 10,000 people. They're going to get a copy of that book. Read the book. It's a great book. A lot of stuff on there. So, but if you haven't got the original, if you still want a copy of the original book, go to taxdebtbook.com. Let me make sure. I think I do have that right here. Taxdebtbook.com. Let me make sure I have that on screen here for you guys. But if you go to taxdebtbook.com, you can actually get a copy of that book right now. The original book, because you're not going to be able to get a copy. If you want the original book, you're going to have to buy the copy. I will leave it on Amazon. I'm going to leave this book on Amazon. Oh, let me share with you the book cover. I'm super excited on the book cover as well. I'll pull up that book cover for you guys. Here is the book cover that's coming out. Got to move all these screens around here. There we are. Tell me what you think of the book cover. This is the new book cover for the new book. So this book, again, the original version will be left on Amazon. You can still buy the old version if you want the old version, but this is the new cover for the book. As you can see there, it's the second edition with Andrew Samaniego contributing to this book as well. How to Make the IRS an Offer They Can't Refuse. My original intention was there's many different options with the IRS, and there's a lot of options that the IRS is willing to work with you. But a lot of times people thought this book was only about an offer and compromise. And I didn't go deep into the offer and compromise. In this section, an offer and compromise has its own chapter where we talk about it. There's a realistic math situation where we talk about how that works. I've seen so many people over the last several years just contacting, getting taken advantage of from different tax relief mills where they're being told they qualify for an offer and compromise. That's where you're settling your debt. And they never qualified in the first place. And I think I mentioned it before. I had one client that spent over $40,000, 3 different companies. They all told him that he qualified for an offer and compromise. And then he hired me when he was with the 3rd company because he hadn't heard back from them. And then he ended up finding out that he never qualified in the first place. And unfortunately, I had to tell him about that. I'm super excited. Again, that's coming out. The next thing I wanted to talk about, this is more of a personal moment. I actually had a chance to have some wine and dinner virtually via Zoom with Michael Franchise, a former mob boss. And that was just a really neat experience. I ended up buying a 50-year anniversary wine from him. And what I love about this wine here, let me expand the image so you can see this a little bit better. He was able to get out. Unfortunately, the story he was telling us was that of the top 50 mob people that were actually in Forbes magazine. He's the only one alive. So he was able to get out and not get killed, fortunately for him and his family. But the big thing here is that down here at the bottom of the line, it says, your circumstances don't define you, your decisions do. And what a big quote for a lot of you guys that are watching this with tax problems. You know what? Yes, you might owe money to the IRS. Yes, you might have unfiled tax returns with the IRS, but that doesn't define you. What defines you is what you're going to do about it. And earlier this week, just a couple of days ago, I had somebody that came in here, somebody that worked for a local ambulance company. And what was amazing about that story was I saw a lot of her in me. You know what? She's getting ready to turn 30 years old. She hadn't filed tax returns in over 5 years and didn't know what to do. Didn't know that there was a way out, was embarrassed by the situation, wanted to be taken care of. Her family was getting on her and she was afraid that more people were going to find out about this. And the funny thing is she works for the same company that I worked for almost 30 years ago. It's still happening. There was a variety of different reasons why she didn't file tax returns, but I told her past doesn't have to define her. What defines her is that she's decided to move forward to get it resolved. And we're super excited to be able to work with her, get her life back in order and to rebuild future by resolving her tax debts. So again, as Michael Franchini says, your circumstances don't define you, but your decisions do. And the last thing, just to kind of come to an end here, you'll notice that normally Andrew's here and Andrew is not here today. He is actually left today for Monterey, California. He's actually, him and his wife are moving to Monterey. Him and his wife were both stationed here in San Diego for the last 6 years. And he got out about a year ago. His wife is still in the Navy. She's actually getting her master's degree at the postgraduate school in Monterey, California. So him and his wife and my grandson, they're all driving up to Monterey, California. They're going to be expanding business there in Monterey. So if you're in the Monterey area, and especially if you're part of the military community, please let me connect you with Andrew. He's the real deal. Navy Academy graduate, surface warfare officer. He's an enrolled agent, and he knows exactly what to do to resolve tax debts. We're a military family, and we talk about this, and we're proud to be a military family. And he's looking forward to serving you if you need that type of help. So with that, we're going to wrap up today's Friday session. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do this live because of a previous appointment I set up for 12 o'clock, but I did want to record this. If you're getting that letter 11 or gotten that letter 11 or even that CP 503 that we covered today, don't sit on it. Call our office, 909-570-1103. There's our phone number. You call us 24 hours a day. We pick this phone up 24 hours a day. It's not AI, it's a person. They'll take down your information and we'll definitely reach out and give you a call, set up an appointment. Our new book drops June 1st. And again, if you've been watching this and you don't want to call right now, you're not sure what you want to do, head over to Tax Debt Triage. Let me give you that website here. If you go to taxdebttriage.com, if you go to this website right here, we take some basic information from you and we tell you internally where you're at, what your threat level is with the IRS or the state of California if you owe money to the IRS. So again, to your survival, have a wonderful weekend and looking forward to potentially talking to you on the phone. Bye-bye for now.